Hi guys, welcome back to another book review. Today we're going to talk about A Fire in the Flesh. It is part of the Flesh and Fire series. If you know anything about this series, it is attached. It's kind of like a prequel to Blood and Ash. You really should read them together. There is some things you can find online in a decent reading order, because if you don't read it and you kind of have to mix, I feel like you have to mix the two series together to really appreciate it without getting any spoilers. Otherwise, you're going to get spoilers for this series from Blood and Ash. And if you just read this one, there's just a lot that goes on. I'm just going to leave it that way. You probably could get away with just reading this entire series and then going on to Blood and Ash. But I think you will get more for it if you kind of mix them together. Like I said, if you can Google it, and there is plenty of recommendations on the order you should read these books in Blood and Ash and in A Flesh and Fire series. So let's talk about this one. This one is, I think this one is book 3, book 4. I should have probably checked that before I... This is book 3. So sorry, I had to double check before I said it. This is book 3. I love this series. Anybody who knows me, one of my favorite series. I have very specific favorite series, and one of my top series is Blood and Ash. I love that series. I actually prefer that series over ACOTAR. I know, sacrilegious. Everybody's gonna come after me for that one, but it is what it is. I love that series. Blood and Ash is it for me, and this one kind of is up there. I consider them almost one giant series. So I enjoy it. I actually enjoy the male main character. I love Cass, do not get me wrong, but oh my gosh, you know, Nyketos, Ash, oh my god, he does it for me. I like him a lot, and I like Sera. I like the whole series. But so if you have not read the entire series or have not read the previous books to this one, you might want to hop off, because I'm going to try to give an overview of this, and it might give away book 2, and I hate to do that for you. So if you have not read this series, then go ahead and hop off, and once you've read it, come back and talk to me then. At least if you've read book 2, then come back and talk to me. Okay, so A Fire in the Flesh. This one is, I feel like this one did not get spicy until the end, and then once it hit the end, like, it made up for the fact that the rest of the book was not that spicy. That's in my personal opinion. The overview of this one would be Sera. She got stuck and captured by Kolis. We know this. I hope I'm saying the names right. She got captured by him, and she has to find a way to get out and whatnot. And, you know, Ash is going to get involved, and there's going to be some stuff happening. They're going to be flipped on their head. And as you know, she has symptoms of the ascension happening. She's got the 2 embers of life in her for a primal life. So there's a lot going on in this one. And like I said, I don't want to give too much away, but she is captured by him. She's trying to get away. She's trying to rescue the people she cares for. She has to make compromises in a really stressful situations to kind of get what she needs and what she wants out of him, kind of in a manipulative situation. And she kind of lies about a lot of stuff. And that's kind of what that one goes on. My big one, like I said, the only thing I had as a complaint on this one, as I felt like she was too long in Kolis's hands. Like, I felt like that was the majority of the book, and obviously we know stuff is going to happen. For me, there was so much going on, and there's so much, like, I don't know if there's trigger warnings included in this one, but there is definitely, because this series is kind of darker anyways, like, they're not dark, but they have some darker topics in them. That's a better way to put it. And so this one is no different. Really darker topics. This one's gonna be no different, because, you know, Kolis is a creeper, and yeah. And so, but this one, like I said, I really enjoyed it. I did give it a 5-star. But my big one on this one is, I do love this series, I love it. But like I said, I just felt like I'm a sucker for the main character love interest. That is something you are going to learn with me. I am a sucker for the main character love interest. And when it does not focus, when a book or a series that I am obsessed with does not focus necessarily on them, like, I'm all good if they're going through adventures together, or say like in Blood and Ash when they were separated in that situation. I don't want to give too much away, because in case you haven't read that one yet, they were in their situation, but they were still able to communicate with each other. I was okay with that, but there's not a lot of that happening here. There's a lot of separation of the love interest, and I really struggled with that, especially where she was going on with so much. Other than that, I love this one. I think it moved at a fairly steady pace. I do feel like it was kind of slower in the beginning, but then it did pick up. The ending, it definitely takes off. There's some part in the ending. I'm going to be honest with you. I stayed up to finish this. I stayed up, I think, till about 2:30 in the morning. And at 1 o'clock in the morning, between 1 and 3, or 1 and 1:30 in the morning, I have ball in my eyes. Like, I'm not just saying a tear here. That I have tears laying in my bed reading this, running down my face. Like, I am, like, bawling silently because obviously my husband's next to me asleep and I don't want to wake him up. I'm just bawling, constant tears rolling down my face. So obviously, you know, it's going to be emotional. It's going to be crazy. Anybody who reads her work knows she is very good at portraying her character's emotions. I know she's not an author for everybody. She's one of my personal favorites. It is what it is. But if you have not read this one and you've read the previous two, I'm going to say it's worth picking this one up. It does add a lot of world building in it. There's a lot of things answered. I felt like there was a lot of stuff added in, and I think that's probably why it may start slower, is it adds a lot of the world building. Like, she's adding layers to the world. And I really thought this was actually going to be the last book. But at the back of this book, because I don't know if all of the editions have it, but this Barnes & Noble edition has kind of a Q&A at the back. And one of the questions were saying whether this was going to be the last book in the series. And it says that it is not. So there is going to be another one after this, at least one more. So if you are a fan of Jennifer L Armentrout, or if you have started this series, or if you're interested in starting this series, then I would definitely say check it out, because I love this series. I love this book. I loved it, and I think you might too.